Welcome to Brunch with Besties podcast.
Hey guys,
I am Sherry Renee.
and I'm Chanel.
Our mission is to heal and help others as we heal and help ourselves through purpose driven
Yep,
conversations.
yep,
Today we are talking about green flags.
yep.
We hear so often about red flags. We thought, why not talk about what we should focus on instead of focusing on what we need to avoid? Because we've done those episodes
Yep. Been
and
there.
been there, done it.
Right.
So, but before we get into that, we're going to start like we always do with a toast.
All right. Well, I'm gonna make my toast real sweet and simple. Christmas break is upon us. So happy. And that's it. That's my toast to Christmas break.
Oh, jeez.
It's
Okay.
here. So happy.
My toast goes to the people that donated to the Association of Community Empowerment. That's my dear sweet friend Margarita's organization, and she had over 100 families, or she has over 100 families to get toys for. So thank you to everybody who donated there. And then also, who else do I want to toast to? Oh, to Georgia
Okay.
for turning out and voting.
Yeah, the voting looks great.
Voting in Georgia, over 1.1 million people voted early. And I think there's like 76,000 new voters that registered. So, hey, keep turning out and we going to make it happen.
Right. Make it do what it do.
Make it do what it's due. So, let's break bread.
All right.
What is going on?
Specifically, nothing much. Just like I said, today was the first official day of break, even though I was getting work emails, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, just trying to enjoy my time yesterday. I think all weekend I decided I was gonna ghost a little bit. Scarlett texted me, shout out to Scarlett, and was like, "Hey, you okay? Like you've been quiet." I'm like, "I'm just ghosting." Like I do it from time to time. Or I just want to be by myself and I don't want to talk to people. But I still love y'all. So there's that. So that is what I was doing. And now I'm kind of coming out of that.
Okay. Now you're ready to like participate in life?
Yeah, right. Get an A for participation now because
Just
I want to participate. But yeah,
every now and
sometimes you
again.
need to disconnect from everything.
Absolutely.
So
You're talking to the queen of the disconnect herself.
listen
I just
here.
assumed that you needed a couple
There,
seconds.
and then, right, and it's so tight because y'all know, like Scarlett lives away, so she may not know all the time, but she totally got it when I told her. She was like, "Oh yeah, all right,
I think we
like
all
do
got
that."
it when it came down time for self care Sunday, and we all was like, "We out."
I
Tired of y'all. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of everybody. Just give me a second to myself. Okay.
swear, we was all like, "All right, bye." Like
I
we
know.
were
Because
so
at first I
out.
was like, here come the excuses coming in. But then I was like, hey, let me go ahead and send mine
You
too.
said, "Here's let me get mine
Here's
out."
mine.
Hey, but
And
and
there
that's
you
what
have it.
right. The Sister Soul Circle is all about understanding when you need a break
You need a
from
break,
everything.
man. You
So
need a break.
there's
I
that.
like that you're taking some time to yourself. You
Oh
deserve
yeah,
it.
child. Listen,
Need a break.
give
Dealing
me
with other
break
people's kids
all
all
day,
day.
and
And they
my own
parents.
right, and their parents,
Child.
and my own kids. So it's just like, yeah, I need the break. So I broke.
You broke. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
that's
no,
what you
I was,
gotta do.
and I think people think like you're sad or depressed. Like I wasn't sad or anything. I just wanted to not talk to anybody, and I
I
think
just want
that's
some
okay.
time alone.
Yeah, I just wanted to be by myself, and I think that that's okay. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, what's going on?
Absolutely. Ciao. So I've been on break for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
And so I've been cleaning, spending
Okay.
time with great people, studying, reflecting,
Oh,
journaling,
listen.
setting my goals for next year.
Nice.
Trying to, new job, who this? So trying to
Hey.
figure out what I plan to contribute in the first 30, 60, and 90 days and trying to outline what I plan to get from the role and then ultimately my exit strategy.
Who said, all right, making it all
Right.
plain and
Hey,
clear.
you gotta get
Hey.
clear on those things. Otherwise, you'll end up just, being idle.
Yeah,
And
for
I'm
sure.
not the one to do that. So and then also new budget.
Mm,
So trying to figure out with my new dollars,
there we go.
what my funds gonna be looking like and how I want to plan for next year from that aspect as well.
Nice.
So
Okay. Cool. That's what's up. Getting all
so
ready for
yeah.
2021. That's what's
And
up.
today is
Right.
According to Instagram, today is Super Negro Day. So
Negroes. I was so confused. I had to send y'all the little things. I didn't get it. Like y'all kept talking, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, what is
I'll
this?
send you a clip where Iyanla lays it out.
Okay, please, yes, share because I
I
was
don't
so
think that she's
confused.
saying what everyone else is saying, but in short, she's saying that this time of year, so not just this year, but
Mhm.
every time during this year where we're entering into this new season, right? Winter is among us. It's a
Mhm.
time for you to do some clearing and some cleaning and set your intentions and be ready to um be clear about what it is that you plan to plant because harvest
Mhm.
will come, right?
Yeah.
But I think what they're saying is that because of this specific date, 12/21/2020, there is it's a unique opportunity where a lot of things are in alignment. So it makes for it's more impactful than before. And she was saying that in order to set your intentions and do all these things, you really need to go into yourself. And that's what quarantine was trying to teach us, right? Is that we need to focus inward and plan for the next season. But some of us didn't learn it because some of us was out here in these streets, you
So
know?
mad. Absolutely was.
Some people was out here in these streets, but your girl was on lockdown. Now I did
Listen,
sneak out there the one time for my mama's birthday
we did.
and went to the West Coast. But
We
your girl,
did.
other than that, your girl is I mean, I have like no tan. I'm just like I'm
Right.
looking
Got your
at the
winter
reflection.
color.
I'm straight up my winter color right
Listen,
now.
got your winter color
Got my
going
winter
on.
color going, but we're gonna be in Cancun soon. So apparently I'm sneaking out again. But you know what? I sneak out
And
with a
come
small
back.
group of
There
people.
we go.
And actually, speaking of that, I'm thinking I was gonna go to the inauguration, and I
Mhm.
got my flights, and I'm thinking I'm going to cancel
Okay.
because that would mean that I'm sneaking out with a group of other people that I don't necessarily uh, engage with on the
Yeah.
regular, and I don't know what their practices and their habits are. So I might need to sit my tail down and
Yeah.
be virtual with that. And I'm sure that we're gonna do stuff here as well. So
I'm pretty sure that was worrying me a little bit because I think even they cautioned people not to come. Like Joe and Kamala was like,
yeah,
"Yeah, don't come out here." But
absolutely.
we
But
was trying to turn up.
absolutely. And that's my thing, right? Is that I was like, this is such a historic
Yeah, it
moment for my
is.
sorority and for,
Mhm.
black women, and I got to be there.
Yeah.
But then I was like, or you could be here
There and still turn up. Hey,
and turn up,
wear
on the
all your green
low.
and your pink and your pink
Exactly.
and your
I can just wear
green.
pink and green
So
all year and ski
hey,
wee whenever I feel. How
there's
about that?
that. Hey, there's nothing wrong with any of that.
But
So
yeah, I just feel like that's gonna be a different experience
for sure.
going there because I think people are going to literally forget that there's a virus and they're gonna be trying to kick it. And I ain't trying to kick it. I
Oh
just
no.
want to celebrate,
Right.
you know,
Just want to be in that thing,
just
but not really kick it
right,
because they gonna turns
not
up.
too much.
Listen.
So
Yikes.
so yeah, so now
All right.
and now it is time for tea time.
Yes, it's the best part.
So today we're talking about green flags, and I have to shout out Kay the Rebel from This Can't Be Life podcast because I actually got the idea from her,
Mm-hmm.
but it made sense because we always, like I said, we're always talking about red flags, so sort of caution signs when it comes to dating and relationships. So thought it would be good to instead of always focusing on what it is that we shouldn't engage with or signs that you need to separate yourself, what are signs, what are the
Mm-hmm.
good signs,
Right. Yeah.
what are the things that are telltale signs that things are moving in the right direction?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do have to start with a disclaimer because Brunch with Besties podcast is
Hey,
not responsible for how your relationship turns out because we're actually both single.
big single, single like a
And
Pringle.
we have made mistakes. I don't know about like a
Woo.
Pringle part, but yes.
Hey,
But we have made mistakes, right? And so
absolutely.
we're only speaking from our experiences. We're not saying that this is the blueprint. So do it at your own risk or not, whatever.
Right.
Hey.
Hey, take what you need and
And
discard what you
if it
don't
don't
need.
apply, let it fly,
There we go.
right?
Yeah. So
And
there's that.
the other reason why I wanted to talk about it is because it made me think back to the episode 163 on validation, where the young lady was asking the young gentleman
Mm-hmm.
how to get with a guy that makes six figures or whatever. And he, read her to smithereens.
He did.
But it made me think, like, you know what? Is she looking to, like, if he would have actually given her some advice and said, like, oh, they like women that are like this, and this, would she have modified herself to become something that she's not?
Mm.
Right. And I think that sometimes that's what happens if you desire to be with somebody and you think that they want something else, a lot of times people will try to I think it's manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're pretending to be somebody that you're not because you think that the other person is more attracted to that thing.
Mm. Mm.
So, how do you define green flags?
So for me, I think green flags are the positives, like the healthy strategies or coping mechanisms that happen in a relationship.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's just the opposite of the red flags, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of saying caution, it's like keep going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Keep going, keep going.
Yeah. I agree. And I think and a little of what you said earlier, I think for us in general, like we talked about red flags. I think we did a whole episode on red
I'm
flags.
sure we did. Probably 5,
Right.
okay?
We talked
Probably
about
after the end of every relationship, we was like, look,
hey,
don't do this.
don't do this. So
No,
I
I don't
think
know.
we're pretty versed in what red flags are, but I know for me personally, like even just seeing memes and people post about green flags, like I was like mind blown, like like,
Hmm.
oh, I
Okay.
didn't know. Like I didn't think of that because I think for me personally, I was just so well versed in the bad stuff that the
Exactly.
good stuff I was just like, that's
So,
not real. Like I don't know.
and I agree. I think that I thought that it was a different way of looking at the same thing,
Hmm.
right? And I know before we talked about, I think when we were on another podcast and they were talking about, like, I don't know, was it sisterhood?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something like
So the
that.
Pretty Plus Size podcast.
No,
Or
with oh my God. Okay. In any case, we were on another
okay, I'm like,
episode and they
oh.
were talking about unity is our strength,
Hmm.
right? And one of the things that I said is that you have to know what to put down in order to pick something up. So I think red is like put this down, but sometimes we don't know what to pick up.
Right.
So I'm very clear on what to put down, but
Yeah.
like now what?
Hmm. Yeah. Because I mean, you don't see much of that, and I'm glad people are aware of like um boundaries and green flags and what's acceptable in mental health and what's appropriate today. I don't think that that was a part of our teaching earlier on, at least for me. I can only speak for myself, but I don't think it was for me, especially like just the examples that I saw in my home, like what green flags or like healthy relationships look like. I think this is something that people are like, I didn't get this, but let's share. Like, let's get it out there to the masses because let's stop reinventing the wheel, or let's start to fix all of this trauma. Like, let's just get it out that this is what it is so that, you don't have to go through that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of quote unquote green flags.
Yeah.
I think it's always been red flags. And I think
Yeah.
throughout the course of my life, it's always been, and never do
Yeah.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever do that, right? Or never be with a guy who does this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's just a different lens to look at the same situation. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And I'm excited. I'm glad people are focusing on it and they can reflect like, okay, well, do I recognize this, or am I a self-sabotager like myself?
We're gonna have to do
Yeah.
another episode on that. Am I a self sabotager? Do I do that?
No, I don't think you do that. I think because I think you try to really get a full understanding. Like I don't think you, but I'd like go off the ledge like ASAP. And I see it. The crazy part, I see it happening, and I just cannot stop myself to just
That
be
is
like, "Bro,
hilarious.
relax."
You're like, here I am, self
Here I
sabotaging right
am,
now
like
in real time.
here it is. But you know what?
Live footage.
I'm gonna actually stop saying it. I'm not even gonna wait to 2021. I'm gonna stop saying that today because
Yes.
I think me saying it is like I'm manifesting it, like it's gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
that way.
perpetuating.
Yeah. So
Especially, in on Super Negro Day,
there we
we
go.
can really actually manifest a
Exactly.
ton of stuff.
So
So
on
I don't know if we
Negroes
really
Day,
believe in that or not, but hey,
hey,
just in case.
just in case it's
Just in
real.
case this is a real thing, we're only going to
Hey,
speak positive things
there
because
we
remember
go.
this season about what are we planting because
Exactly.
we're going to reap the harvest. And what Iyanla was saying is that whatever it is that we're sowing, we're going to reap it for 20 years. So you best to be careful.
Yeah. So then
So
I
your
don't want
girl
to
don't
do
have
that.
time to speak negative things over her life and you don't
at
either.
all.
So
So
you're right. I'm glad you caught yourself
I
there.
did. Right. As I was saying, I was like, oh brother, like stop saying that, sis. Don't say that no more. So yeah, I'm not gonna say that. But that was something that I recognized as a red flag for myself. Like, this is what you're doing. But now
Mm.
that, we're talking about green flags and what that looks like I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think too the whole reason why I was so intrigued by Kay the Rebel. And by the way, I did not listen to her podcast. I
Okay.
planned to on my way home, but I thought that that's what we want, right? Like we want to evolve and
Mm-hmm.
do better. Like I don't want to bash men or whatever, like whatever happened in the past, let it go. But what are we gonna do different? What's the takeaway? So we can talk about red flags all day. They come a
Mm-hmm.
dime a dozen, but let's kind of take a positive spin on it and just kind of shift the conversation to one that's more conducive to evolution. So here
Mm-hmm.
we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
Green flags.
Yes.
So what comes to mind? Like what's your just reflex when you hear me say green flags?
So to me, it feels like that's the goal. Like, that's what I want to participate in. Like, I want to get to that point where I start to not only recognize it in myself, but like recognize it in other people as well. Not that they're like trying to get over on me, but like using discernment in the way that I start to really fully recognize that and see that in other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was watching something, I don't know what it is, but it was talking about how, you know how sometimes people say, "Oh, I thought they were this and I thought they were that," and I just didn't see it or they
Mm-hmm.
didn't show me. Um, the person said, "We actually always see it.
Mm,
We just choose to ignore it."
yeah.
Right? So it's about trusting your gut and your intuition and obeying what you already know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what's a green flag?
Wow. So there are a lot. And I definitely did my little Google searches as I was going. But I had a lot. It was funny because even before we did it, like I had memes saved about this, not even thinking that we were ever going to do an episode on it. But it was just very intriguing to me where I was just like, wow, that's a heck of a concept. But I guess every negative has a positive. Like, that's
Yeah, there's
how
always exactly,
the world works.
well, how are you gonna look at it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So there are a lot of green flags. So one that really sticks out to me is like a good communication. Like,
Mm,
that is one. And I think that really sticks out to me because I think that's one that I in the history of me dating people, and that's one that I struggle with. And I talked about that before on the podcast. Like, communication, like I could speak well and I can talk to people, but then when it comes to like conflict and things, I don't do that well. So I think that is something that stuck out to me as far as like a green flag, a person who can communicate well and who won't let you like opt out. Like, we're gonna have this conversation and we're gonna do it healthy. And that kind of made me think about our last episode with Joe Whitaker. Shout out to the Whitakers, Bridget and Joe. But just how he was like, nah, like, you're not gonna hang up on me. That's not what we do. Like, we're gonna talk this out and we gonna get past it and then we're gonna move forward. So I think that is something that, stuck out to me, like good communication skills.
what's good communication skills?
So being able to just talk freely. So being transparent and having conversations that, allow you to be your authentic self. Having those tough conversations, conflict resolution, like those things make for good communication skills. And being open to talk about any and everything without the judgment or without like feeling like you got to be right or you're wrong, but letting each other have this equal moment of whatever the conversation is.
I agree. I think good communication is with the intention of I want to understand and I want to hear you,
Yeah.
and ultimately I want to resolve this, not necessarily I want to win.
Yeah.
And then too, so because you're talking about conflict, usually in conflict something happened or whatever. And I think a lot of times, even when someone's trying to express that they're hurt, the other person wants to prove that they're not a bad person. So
Yeah.
it's like they're missing the fact that, but you hurt this person, so
Yeah.
just let them. Like
be
just
hurt.
listen to
You're
them, just
right.
let them be hurt.
That's all you can do.
Right.
So
Like don't
yeah,
justify what you did. Like just listen,
and let them be hurt. So
Right.
yeah. And I've been on both sides of that where it's just like, okay, like, and for me, it's like something to recognize. Not that I'm 100% there yet. Like I feel like I still have to learn, but just like through some experiences that I've had, last relationship, friendships, and stuff, it does make me realize like communication is very important because people don't know um what you have going on. And sometimes you get, like, for me, like I hold in a lot of stuff, so I might be at my boiling point because I held in for so long. And then somebody says something to me, these kids, somebody says something to me, and I'm just like, all right, like now I'm done, like leave me alone, like I don't want to talk anymore. um but I think that comes with me trying to get my thoughts out. So I think for me, step one is learning to not hold everything in and just talk as things happen.
Mhm.
Um, and I think in my last relationship, I just felt like, oh, well, I feel like this is an attack, but it's like, bro, it's really not an attack. Like I'm trying to understand where you coming from, and not be so defensive about it. So I think, yeah, it's just me working on communication. I think that's a great, like, green flag that people have, that you can't look at it as like, oh, you're attacking me or you're judging me, or, I can't be my authentic self in talking to you.
Yeah. I think with communication too, it's approaching the situation head on,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Like I think sometimes people can skirt around the issue, but it's like call it out, get it out there on the table,
Yeah.
talk it out. But of course with the intent to move past it or get some sort of resolve. It can be difficult though, you know, because sometimes one person might have the intent to do that, the other person may not, or both just might want to be right. So,
Yeah.
hey,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, but I do think, you know how they say that the biggest distance between two people is misunderstanding.
Absolutely. I agree with it.
And so I think that a lot of times things could have been different or would have changed or whatever if people were more invested in the other person.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. So that's like my top green flag. There are a bunch of them though. Keeping it back
One
to
of
my
mine is
main.
empathy. That
Okay.
is
Mm.
my new biggest one
Yeah.
is empathy. Because I think before I didn't think about it too much. I think
Mm.
I just assumed that people are empathetic because we're all human beings and people naturally care about each other. But that's not always the case. So empathy is really high on my list now because there's so many things that come with it,
Mm.
right? Like the intent to want to understand. Um, like just compassion and genuine care.
Yeah.
Um, in this world now, it's so easy to just be selfish that I
Mm.
think that empathy is lacking. So
Yeah.
empathy is really big on my list now.
That is a huge one because like you said, like you would think that is like a natural, like you should care about the well-being of other people or other things, but in our society, it is very much like me, me, me. Like it's about me, um,
It,
and you kind of lose that.
and I think it boils over to all the other probably things that we're going to say today.
Hmm.
But if you have empathy, then you might communicate a little bit better, right?
That's what I would think.
Because you want to understand.
Yeah.
You want to understand how this person feels, right? So you're
Hmm.
probably going to, while you're communicating, when they say something, instead of responding to what they say, you're probably going to ask them follow-up questions about what it is that they said to make sure that you're clear on how they feel.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, like you said with conflict, right? That's where communication usually matters the most is when there's conflict. But if there's conflict and I'm not clear on the problem statement, then it'll never get solved.
Mm.
So if you're trying to tell me that I hurt you in some type of way and I'm not really hearing you, I'm never going to address the actual problem statement. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get what you need from the conversation.
Mm-mm. Nope. Because yeah, there's that, and I do think those go hand in hand. So there's totally gonna be a disconnect without that empathy piece, and I think that is a huge piece, especially when you think about relationships.
You're right.
Um, that's huge to have that. And when you don't have that, and then thinking about the red flags, so the opposite of that, is just like, dang, like you be so wrapped up, and then when the relationship ends and you realize like, oh man, that was toxic, like that was a red flag. And then you're like, huh. And then you get with somebody else who does like have this sense of care and well-being for you. It's just like, what? Like, where have you been my whole life? So I mean, you do that is a huge one, I think, for sure. And maybe just because I feel like I'm a people person, so you should care about people and care about their well-being, and want to understand, about them, or why they do the things they do, or whatever it may be. But yeah, that's huge. It's really
Yeah.
huge.
It reminded me of when Joe was here, right? So
Mhm.
shouts out to the Whitakers. But
Again.
he said like, "Yep, I read her book,"
Yeah.
and then I thought like, I told her like, "I'm so sorry that that happened to you," and then I
Mhm.
took it upon myself to kind of contextualize it and say, "Hey, there's some things that might be a little bit sensitive with her. I need to be
Mhm.
mindful of that."
Yes. Ooh.
So it's taking everything that you have and applying it, right, like putting it into context with that person. And I think that helps you communicate better too, right? So it all goes
Mhm.
hand in hand. If you are empathetic and then you see um different things about this individual, like Bridget reading her book,
Yeah.
then you can say like, let me give this to them in a way that I think they can receive it.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. That does definitely help. And that's a great example of what he said in on that episode. Of how he said he felt like he needed to, protect her after that. And, he was very aware of what she had gone through and how that may have affected her. So he wanted to really be careful with that.
Right.
And I'm like, how responsible is that? Like, that's great that you know this about a person. And then, because that book was real. Like, she bared her whole soul.
Her
So it's just
whole soul.
like,
The crazy thing is,
everything.
but that's the thing about seeing pieces of people. So the
Yeah.
book is not all of her.
Yeah. Right. No.
Right. So you have to take that into context with. So Richard also has a podcast,
Mm
right? Or she did.
hmm. Mm
So
hmm.
I'm sure he listened to all the episodes of the
Yeah.
podcast, and he probably listened to our episodes where she was on here, right? He's just a big fan
Quite
of Bridget.
possibly. Yeah. And she blogs and her Facebook is very personal. So all of
Yeah,
those
I think that you got
pieces.
to take it all together, but then you have to bring it back to her,
Mm hmm.
right? Because those are just bits and pieces of her.
Mm
But
hmm.
then you have to ultimately take it back to her and engage in conversation with her about those matters, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I read this in the book.
Yeah.
Uh, can we talk about this? Is this
Yeah.
open for discussion?
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Or even asking her, like, you know, or and then this is anybody. We got to Bridget and Joe. We love them. But just anybody in particular, like if the goal is to learn about them, and you do your research, such as Joe did, and you just come to that person to be like, hey, like, I learned these things about you. Like, let's talk about this because I don't want to step over any boundaries or anything like that. Like, I think that's tight.
right. And the reason why I say you got to bring it back to her is because if not, I think that he will make his own assumptions
Mm-hmm.
about what it is that he read and heard and whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Because if you don't know, you will fill in the gaps and make it up for
Yep.
yourself.
Your
So,
mind just fills in the gaps. Our
yeah.
mind is brilliant that way. But
And we don't want that.
yes.
So be clear with
Wh-
what's happening here.
What's another one?
Um, Another one that I think is healthy hobbies. And this one, because okay, so here's the
The
thing.
thing. I'm here for the thing, child. Tell me what the thing is.
So here's the thing with me, and when I'm in a relationship, like I definitely there's a meme that I saw the other day. It was like, see, my toxic trait is that I just seen you, but I want to see you more. Like I want to see you again, and that was me. Like, but now it's like finding time to really do stuff on my own and be on my own and do things that I like to do. I think is important. So growing up, you see people, they're always together, or you watch movies and the person falls in love and they're always together, but in reality, you need to have something for you. Like you have to. So finding that time for you. And shout out to Lakita in our 30-day journey to peace. And just she was very adamant. Every week she would say, like, okay, well, what are you doing for you? Like, what are you doing to take care of you? This is your time. So I thought that like hearing that like really stuck in my brain to be like, okay, well, what am I doing for me and how am I spending this time by myself? It's okay to miss people. I'm not saying don't miss people or, disconnect, but it is very important to do things that you like for yourself. And I think that is very healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the queen of hobbies. I don't think they show up the way like I'm not like physically active, right?
Hmm.
Like, but I'm absolutely always doing something with the sorority or another group or a third group. Oh yeah, and shouts out to my Whitewater kids. They had a panel on Friday. The graduate students of UW Whitewater, they kicked butt. They closed out the semester really good. But absolutely, I agree. You have to have a sense of identity.
Yeah.
Um, I think that it can be, if something does happen with the relationship, it can be detrimental if you have nothing because you've invested, like, literally your purpose became this
Hmm.
other individual.
Hmm.
So then you ultimately lose yourself, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know what you like, then you don't know who you are.
Yeah, you definitely got to figure that out. And be aware of it too. When you start to feel yourself like, oh, well, everything I do is kind of wrapped up in whoever the person is, then it's time to kind of step back to be like, is this healthy? Like, is it healthy for me? Like, and just
Well, that's
give it a
kind of
try.
like codependency, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I would say that's
Yeah.
probably codependency.
So definitely healthy hobbies and finding things that you love to do and just and it may not even have to do with your purpose, but just finding things that you like to do for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
One of mine is read a damn book.
yeah.
That is one of the requirements. That's a green flag. Because I read so much. Like, it could be an article, it could be a book, listen to a podcast, read on Audible, do it however you need to do it. But I especially like people that are knowledge seekers
Hmm.
and people that like to learn something new and people that are open to change, right? Because if you always learn something new, then you can always evolve.
Hmm.
And your girl's about the evolution.
Yay. Hmm. Yes. So
I read something one time and it was like, never sleep with a guy who doesn't read. I think
that
Matthew
is
Hussey said that. He didn't
funny.
say it like that, but he said, don't ever F a guy that don't read. And I
Hey,
was like, but he was
that
like,
makes
yeah, like it
sense.
don't make no, it makes no sense for us to be adults and not read.
Yeah, like
Like
how
the
are
world
you
is
not?
changing fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like how are you not reading? Which is interesting. I mean, I get it. Some people just like, it's not
Some
my
people it's
thing.
not their thing.
And
I
that's
just
okay.
would prefer if it's your thing.
Hey, and right. To be
That's
with
all I
Sherry
want.
Renee needs to be your
Gotta
thing.
be your thing.
That is funny.
In some capacity. Like,
Hey,
read something.
that's something. Definitely. I'm a see, I like to read too sometimes. Not probably as much as you, and that's okay. But I think for me, I'm a big Googler. Like I do like information. And Google may not be the best way to get
Googler.
information, but whatever. But I cannot like yesterday, I was randomly searching the Chichen Itza in Mexico. It's the seventh wonder of the world. And I was like very intrigued. Like, this is so tight. So I was
Hey,
like
like I
Googling
said,
everything
I
about
don't
it.
care how you get
So
there.
there you go.
Just get there
Give me the
if you can.
information.
Okay.
Listen,
I
give
don't
me
care
the
how you do
information.
it. Just do something.
There we go. I love so you love the mind. What is that?
I'm
That's called. That's
absolutely
called
a
something. There
sapiosexual.
we go.
I am
Yes.
absolutely all about the
You
mind.
love the mind. Yes. And that's tight. Like I think that is a wonderful green flag. Like I need you to want to
And not only that,
learn.
but I am attracted to people that can teach me something.
Absolutely.
Or it may not even be necessarily teach me something, but expand my mind. Like, if I see
Mm,
something one way and it's different, be it your
mm,
life experience, your career, your whatever, I don't know, just show me something different or
that's
something,
good.
open my mind, even just a tinge.
Hey, that's beautiful though. Like that's really tight.
Because
Church
because
figure.
I like people that invest in you.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, that's a form of that. Like, well, let
Mm,
me expand your horizon a little bit.
mm,
Like, okay, the other day I was talking to one of my mentors, telling him about the new job. And he's like, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I'm like, oh, that's good.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I'm here for that moment. The aha moments, I'm here for all of
Yeah.
those.
So that's another perspective. Like, I didn't think of it like
I didn't think
that.
about it
So
that way.
there's,
Because I can't be the smartest person in the room, child.
Hey, and we all can learn new things.
We all can learn
and we all have different experiences that will teach us different ways.
And
so
we
I
all
think
have
that's
different
great.
gifts. And so if you see something different, like, just help me understand why I might not agree with it, but I just like to see something new.
Yeah.
Like, I am absolutely a knowledge seeker. I love it. Like, I just want to know that it's a thing.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. I think that is great. Like, get the information. How you get it. Just get the
I don't
information.
care how you get it.
and
Like I
bring it back.
said, you can audio book it, you can Google it, you can Siri, what is the
that's me.
One of my, like, sometimes I think, like, okay, if something randomly happened to me and I died and, like, they went and looked at, like, my search history, they would be like, what is wrong with her?
Listen, girl, I'm kind of embarrassed how much I Googled. They would
and
be
like screenshots, they would be like, what is she doing?
Yes.
Like, it's everywhere.
Mines, they would be like,
because I will see something, but that is one of my so I think I talked about in one of the episodes how at my work we have to do the Gallup top 5 strength finders, and my number one is relator, so relationships very important, blah blah blah. But one of them is also learner, and one of them is also what is it? I forget what it's called, but in any case, this person knows all, like, a bunch of random information just in case they might need it, but they probably don't. That's me.
Funny. That is
and I know that's me because the stuff that people text me and ask random questions about, I'm like, you could have asked Google, but you asked me. And then they always say, but you responded.
Yeah, and you probably have an answer.
Exactly. So that's why I'm here.
You probably have an answer. That is funny.
But I just randomly know stuff, not because I'm so smart, but I am very inquisitive. And I think that a lot of times that's what stops people from doing the things that they say they want to do, is they make it bigger than what it is because they never investigate. They never just look at, well, what is the next step?
Yeah.
Let me just take the next step.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so interesting. It's funny because you've always been like that. Like,
so your top 5 strengths don't change.
Yeah.
They literally, it doesn't matter like what happened. Well, unless you have like a catastrophic event happen to you.
Yeah.
They don't change.
But it's funny because now we know like what that is. Like, we can name like what is that. But it's funny because like even in high school you were very much so like you knew you had the facts, like you knew, and I thought it was because you're going to be a lawyer. Like, I foresaw that, like this is what this girl is going to do. So, but that's funny that you just be
want to know stuff. That's all. Hey. I just want to get an understanding of everything in the world. Apparently, I don't know.
And that is you, and that's tight because people do call you with all the questions. And sometimes you got answers. And sometimes you be like, bro, like,
leave me alone. Google.
Like, Google is your boundaries. Because that's what I did. I Googled it. You can do the same thing. Like,
but then the crazy thing is, like, let's say I don't know, and I'll be like, dude, Google it, right? But then I'll be like, but I wonder now. So then I have to go look it up. And then an hour later, now I done made all the connections and I have a full understanding of why it is the way it is.
Went down the whole rabbit hole.
Case. Right. And that is absolutely me. I can totally go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all do. And it'll be like a 55 text message thread that I got to catch up to the next morning.
No, y'all ain't gonna talk to me about no rabbit hole. So wait, story time. Quick story. I had a random dream about fish. I dropped it in a couple group chats, and I was like, hey, mine was short and sweet. It said, hey, dreamt about fish last night.
Be careful.
I don't know what y'all out there doing. Tighten up. This is not a drill. I put my phone down. I go about my merry way. I come back 50 messages later. Y'all didn't say that it was me who was pregnant.
Hilarious.
Y'all didn't name the baby.
It was a whole
settled on a whole nickname. And I'm like, whoa. The person who had the dream can't be the one that's pregnant.
Hilarious.
Now, back to the podcast.
Literally came back to like
I was like, what the hell?
Like,
I don't know what I was doing, but I did whatever I did, came back, and I was like, 50? What?
Yeah.
So apparently whoever this baby is, the nickname is Cece. That's the last message that I got. I don't know.
The fake baby is Cece.
The fish baby. The fish baby. I don't know.
Stay tuned for that.
No, do not stay tuned for that. What? We ain't staying tuned for that. Oh my
Oh,
God.
crack it. I just want to be clear. It ain't gonna be me.
It ain't gonna be me either.
Sis got a good IUD.
When it
that
ain't
is
gonna
amazing.
be me either. It ain't gonna be me. Not I said the cat. Not I said the duck. Okay.
I'm just
now
saying.
back to the
There we go.
podcast.
Just had to throw that out there.
So, give me your
Man.
next one.
Definitely vulnerability.
Child.
And that's one that I think for me too, like I'm growing in, just being vulnerable and open. I think out of all my relationships, I've only been like very vulnerable and transparent with 2 people. And one being my son's dad, because it's like, well, I had to, like, kind of.
Hey, I had your whole baby,
right?
Okay? You gotta accept me,
right? Hey, when I tell y'all, he seen me at some of my lowest points. Like, whew, after having a baby, it's bad. If y'all don't have kids, just know that it's a lot. So
see,
and
that's why the fish ain't me.
I'm just saying. Listen, he seen it and he was there, and I'm like, okay. You're cool. And I mean my friends too, because y'all see me at some very low points as well. So it's like it's easy to be vulnerable with those people. But then, some relationships is just like, I can't be vulnerable because I don't trust you enough to do that. Like you gonna throw it in my face, or you gonna make me seem like I'm crazy. Like I just can't show you all of that. So I think that is healthy when you can show people that and show people your truest, authentic, most transparent form of yourself. And even in my last relationship too, it was definitely like, okay, I found myself like just being very vulnerable, and it was just like, how did I get here? Like I was it's crazy because I was trying so hard not to. Like I don't want to show you me. Like I don't want you to see that, because I think you're gonna think different of me. So I just didn't want to go there, but it happened. Like he got me to go there, and I was just like, okay, well, here we are. You seen
Here we
it,
are.
so
Right.
I don't know what else to do now. But that's definitely. And but the thing is, and not to say that he didn't, but when somebody makes you feel comfortable in being that, I think is the key. Like you can be your vulnerable self, and I'm gonna show you my vulnerability, and we just gonna open books together. Like everything about me. You know the ins and outs, and my whole backstory. You got
from
everything.
the rooted to the tutor.
From the rooted to the tutor, child. I think that is so tight.
I think it is too. I absolutely agree. I think that it happens over time, and trust is required, right? And obviously, like you said, you don't want somebody to throw something in your face or judge you or whatever. I think in my last one, I did it intentionally because I think so while I do not say everything on the podcast, because some things just ain't none of y'all damn business. How about that?
How about that?
But I think that I've gotten more comfortable just accepting myself through the podcast, right? So it's just like at the end of the day, this is just who I am, right? So obviously always looking to evolve, get better, grow, whatever, but there's some things that I just can't take away. There's some things that I just can't change. I think for me, the stuff that I'm like that before I was more like, oh my God, are they going to accept me or whatever? It was more like my family.
Okay.
Like, hey, your daddy kind of sketchy, stuff like that, right?
So I don't know how they're going to take
what
that.
roots does this girl come from?
Ooh.
But at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? This is who I am.
Yeah.
So either accept it or don't. But I think from my standpoint, like I said, in my last relationship, I think I did it intentionally because I was just like, if this is going to be real, I mean, then you just need to know who I am. Yeah. So here it is. For some stuff, like we said before, don't want to talk about it, but I will send you the link.
There we go.
When I did talk about it.
There we go.
Here you go.
There we go.
But I think that, one of the things that Lydia and Nikita said in their book, it says something to the effect of, you're better broken because your pieces reach more people.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, that's good. And Pastor Torre says something like that too.
Okay.
Well, in the reverse, like if you don't fix the broken pieces, like you're gonna cut everybody who comes in contact with you.
Okay, I'm like, that's not the same thing.
It's not the same.
But it is the reverse.
It's the reverse.
So I see where you're going with that.
There we go.
Got it. At first I was like, I don't know. Do I need to edit this? I don't know.
We don't
No,
edit
but
nothing,
you
but
there.
it's in the reverse.
It's in the
I
reverse.
made
You
it.
made it. You
I
took
made it
it
make
full
sense.
circle.
There
You
we go.
made it. That's all I want. See, that's all
I
I
made it
want.
make sense.
Make it make
There
sense.
we go.
But I feel like that's what makes you more relatable. And I remember one time someone told me that they had a certain image of me where they just thought I was
Hmm.
apparently perfect. And I was like, say what?
Oh wow, perfect.
Perfect? Oh
Child.
God, no. Let's sit. Do you have time? Sit down. But I think that that's because I didn't really share
Hmm.
things that weren't perfect. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You're only gonna hear about the great things that I've done, but not necessarily the things that I had to overcome.
Hmm.
So I think that it's just not real,
Yeah.
and so if I want a real authentic relationship, then I agree. I think you got to intentionally be vulnerable, and sometimes I didn't want to talk about stuff, but I was like, this is an opportunity, this is a fork in the road.
Hmm.
What will she do?
That's good.
Stay tuned next week to find out. Did she tell him? Did she not?
Right. Hey.
Right. So I think it's one of those things where it's just like, are you going to own yourself? Are you going to be
Mm.
comfortable with who you are? Can you own all of this, the
Mm.
good, the bad, the ugly, the not so good, the part that's a work in progress, and for me, I just wanted to own it all.
Yeah.
Good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent, whatever.
I love it. No, that's good. And that's definitely like, we always talk about like, okay, well, what did you learn after relationships? I think we always go through that. And I think that is one thing too, that, my next relationship, I definitely want to be like, well, I don't want to do it too soon. Like timing is everything too. So you don't want to be like, here's all of me, like right away.
Here's the book.
Right. Here you go.
Here you go. Right, because that's a little much. They're gonna be like, "Well,
Yeah.
dang,
Right. I said,
dang,
whoa.
whoa."
So
Oh
yeah,
God.
but with timing, when the timing is right, definitely letting people, see the vulnerable sides of you. But I think you said something that was tight, like, this is me though, the good, the
Hey,
bad,
it's
the
all me,
everything.
man.
This is all me. So you either gonna accept it and work within my boundaries and be gentle with what I'm sharing you, or you gonna be like, nah, this ain't it. And
And guess what? If it ain't it, that's okay.
that is okay.
So
I
I'd
promise
rather just know
you.
that it ain't it and
Up
accept
front.
that it ain't it and move on.
Exactly.
But I agree though, right? Like it definitely has to be a safe space, and you definitely don't want someone who's gonna, take advantage of what it is that you're sharing and play
Yeah.
off of that. That's probably the worst thing that you could do is for somebody to share something with you in a vulnerable state and you manipulate what it is that they're sharing, or they play off of it
Hmm.
to your detriment. So if that happens, then I'm out.
Right. Like, gotta be out because we ain't got time to be playing. Don't don't play. Don't play
It's
with
not a
people.
drill.
It is not a drill. And at this time, in our work and self-care and we overcoming traumas and all, we not gonna play. Like,
Right.
we don't have the time.
So for me, I put vulnerability with acceptance,
Okay. That's
right?
good.
And then
Hand in hand.
two, on the other hand, can I accept who they are?
That part. Hmm.
Right? Because everybody has their things. Nobody's perfect, right?
Hmm.
And like I said, for me, I don't want to present a facade. So I also don't want you to present a facade. So
Hmm.
whatever your traumas and whatever are too, then I also have to be able to accept it. You know?
Yeah, because we all have a history, we all have baggage, we all have backgrounds and experiences. So that does go hand in hand, acceptance and vulnerability. I think for me too is the part where it's just like, yeah, can I accept him? And I think for me in the past, like, I would accept, but then I wanted to like tweak and make changes, but you can't do that with people.
So here's the thing. This one time, this is a long time ago, and shouts out to Scarlett. I think it was Gina we were having a conversation
Hmm.
to. Shouts out to
Shout
Gina
out to Gina.
Rose.
Hmm.
Um, Gina was like, so we were young, okay? Little
High school.
context.
Yeah.
It could have been college. I don't
Was
know.
it?
Either way, I don't
Okay.
know. But in
Let me
any
hear the
case,
story.
right? You're like, I don't know. But in any case, I don't know. We were trying to encourage Jenna to talk to some dude or what. I don't know. Or if no, I think she met this dude and she was
Hmm.
telling us about him. And we were like, okay, like she was telling us. And then she was like, he would be cute if this,
Mm.
he would be this if that. And she did like five things. And Scarlett was just sitting there listening to her. And she was like, so you want a new man,
Right.
because that's not who he is.
So that
You
ain't
know,
it.
he just ain't it. So I
Yes.
think that on both sides, it's like, no, you can't. Like I also, another green flag is that they are trying to push you to evolve and grow, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they want you to be your highest self. They're bringing out the best in you.
Yeah.
So I think from that standpoint, right, if you are helping to facilitate me being my highest self, absolutely. But can you change me? No.
Right.
Because
No.
my evolution happens on my time, right?
Absolutely.
Not yours. And it may not manifest itself in a way that you think it will.
Yeah.
So I think that if you have to change somebody, you just need to let them go. They just ain't
Yeah.
it.
And I think in that, like trying to change them, like you're stuck in a cycle. Like you want them to
Absolutely.
be your norm or what you're used to because you have not evolved out of that cycle. At
Absolutely.
least for me, like I found myself doing it. It's just like, but bro, this not him. Like he doesn't have to be that person. Like he's him. And is he doing X, Y, and Z, which is what I should have been looking towards. Like, is he doing X, Y, and Z?
And I've absolutely done that before too. I remember, my first boyfriend, I was with him for a very long
Mm-hmm.
time. So then, a guy that I dated afterwards, I remember, shouts out to Scarlett again. I was talking to her about it,
Listen.
and I was like, and he doesn't do this and not this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, he ain't him, bro.
Yes.
He's not him. And I was like,
Girl.
but he should
But
know. And she was like, no, how long were you with that dude?
Mm,
It took time to figure you out.
y'all
Okay.
be coming with the girl. Get it in your
Right.
head.
It's
Like one
not
of
him.
these.
Okay.
Yes. Y'all be coming through with
She was
those
like,
moments.
now if you want to break up with him and go back to the other
Hey.
dude, then just do that.
Right. Just say that.
Just say that.
Just say
do
that's
it.
what you want to do,
Okay?
bro. You got me here
But
talking
it's
about
so
this
weird.
man.
It doesn't even make sense because it's like you broke up with the other dude because you didn't want him, but
Mhm.
then you're trying to find him in
In
another
the-
dude.
Ooh.
So what do you want?
What do you want?
What you want, girl?
Listen.
What you trying to do?
Ugh.
So it's one of those things, right, where it's like sometimes things can just become so familiar that they become part of your pathology, right? So
Yeah.
you're attracted to that. So that takes me back to the whole idea of putting down things and not knowing what the heck to pick up.
Yep.
Because I absolutely was like, no, he should be doing this, that, and the third. And she was like, except for that's not him.
But right, wrong person.
Wrong person. So either you can tell him that or you can leave him alone.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Man.
So that was a little segue. But coming back to the whole acceptance,
Mhm.
I think from my standpoint, I will absolutely accept whoever people are.
Mhm.
However, I may choose to change the nature of the relationship.
Hey, and that's fair.
And I feel that I have that right. And I also
Yeah.
feel that he has that right too. Right. If
Yeah.
he says that's too much for me, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm out.
And that's fair.
Then you get to do that. But what I don't want to do is to put on a facade and have someone think that I'm something and then come to find out that's not it.
Mhm.
Because I feel like when you do that, you're just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
If you out, be out today.
Be out.
Don't be out 3 months from now.
Exactly.
Don't be out 3 years from now. And damn it, if the fish thing is real, don't
definitely
be
out because that's for life.
Death won't keep me from you if that happens.
Jesus, that's for life.
But
no, that is very fair, and I think both men and women, like, you absolutely have that choice because that may be the purpose of the relationship. Like maybe it was never supposed to be, more than whatever you put them as. So if we're supposed to be friends, then
be friendly.
Be friendly, like, right? This is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. These are good. More green flags.
So, long-lasting friendships.
Yeah.
Or some form of relationships.
I posted this the other day on Instagram. There was Scarlett. Shout out to Scarlett again.
Scarlett, you know what? You're in town. We should have just had you come to the daggone episode.
She should be here. But Scarlett sent us all this article in the New York Times about how through COVID and this pandemic, like, men were in need of having deeper relationships with other men as far as like friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So she sent us this article. I read the article and I'm like, wow, that's really like dope. So one of the guys that they focused on in the article, he would only like see his friends for like sports gatherings. Like they would only get together to do things like that. But he was like, during the lockdown and, things happening during this pandemic, he was like, he really longed for, male relationships, people that he can vent to and talk to and things like that. And they talked to several other men who also felt the same way. Like, our relationships are very like social, but not like deep. And I thought that was very cool. So I wanted to know, I asked some of my guy followers and they were like, so what I asked was like, do you have male friends that you can vent to and talk to and, share secrets with and things like that? And, a few of them was like, yeah, like I do have that. And I was like, wow, that's really great that, you do. And then there was one response. He was like, no, like, I don't talk to dudes like that. I don't trust them. And I was like,
Hey.
It's like, dang.
Vulnerability, right? Because you can't trust everybody.
Hey, and that's true. You cannot trust everybody. So, and we've talked about this before, like, guys not having like that core group of friends or people that they can talk to. Like, then what do you do? Like, who are you talking to?
So here's the thing, right? Because one thing, and shouts out to Brittany, when we did maybe our first episode, or I don't know what episode it was, but it was early on, and we talked about, the beauty of friendships and blah blah blah, and our sister circle and all that. And she said, that's the norm for y'all. That is not the norm.
Yeah, she did say that.
But I do think that it's easier for women to do. But I will say women can be trifling too.
Absolutely. I know a handful of women that don't have many friends.
And women, some women will say like women are so catty or women are so this. So no, I don't hang with them. I hang with the guys, or I'm solo.
I'm solo, in
these streets. And shouts out to Joe, who was on the episode last week, confessing his undying love to Bridget.
Yeah.
Yes. But in any case, he too said no. Like I did a lot of introspection, right? I don't have a lot of male friends, and my brother will say I got a couple.
Yeah.
Got maybe 3. That's solid, that I trust like that. Because too, sometimes, well, both, right? Women and men, we're both just people. And some of us do some shady things sometimes. So it can be hard.
Yeah.
But then why do we hang around people that we are going to be like, nah, but that's not my friend? I guess it depends on what you have access to.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I got out of that long-standing relationship, I heard a young lady say that it was a red flag, a guy who didn't have friends, because it means he's unfriendly.
Okay. Yeah,
right?
We talked about that. Yeah.
So that was kind of where my stance was coming from. But then after talking to Brittany, which is why, again, I like the conversation, the dialect, because open up my mind, right? Like, I don't want to just see things one way. But she was like, no, that's y'all norm. This is not the norm.
Yeah.
And so it could be a number of reasons why people don't have a group of friends.
Yeah.
And the older you get, I would imagine it's harder to make friends.
Yeah.
And then for guys, let's just be honest. For dudes, like, the other dude is gonna be like, "What's going on?" They're gonna think he gay. There's a lot of factors.
Like, what's the opening? Like, hey, exactly. I like your lining. Like, what do you say?
Not the lining.
Like, it's easy for women to be like, "Hey, girl, like that dress is cute. Like, where'd you get it?" Now we've built a rapport. But like, what do dudes say?
Now we built a rapport. That's funny.
Yeah, I like that haircut. Like, what? I don't know. So that is definitely
it can definitely be difficult, I would imagine. Thank God we're not men. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Shouts out to the men who are listening. What? But no, I would imagine that is quite challenging.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want, like, how am I being perceived in this moment, right?
I know.
Like, I just want a male friend.
Right. Just want a friend.
Okay. Dang.
And then you walk up to somebody saying that, they'll be like, oh,
right.
So weird.
Exactly.
But no, that is true. Like, the different perspectives did help me, because I think I was at that point too, where I was just like, okay, if a guy doesn't have friends, like, something's wrong. Like, something's wrong.
I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. Like, you know what? This don't make sense because I got friends. Like, what? But no, I think for me, after hearing Joe and how he was just like, no, like,
and also Joe's also very introverted,
very much so. So he was like, no, like, I talked to my pastor for counseling and stuff like that. But he was like, I did the work for myself, like within myself. So I was like, oh, okay, Joe, that makes sense. All right. But yeah, I think, but I mean, and Joe's friendly. Like so now hearing that, I wouldn't be like, well, he's not friendly because he don't talk to, like, he doesn't have a close group of friends.
Exactly.
Because he was very friendly to us.
Exactly. Look, I'm a big fan
Big
now
fan.
of the smothered pork chop.
Big fan, Joe.
As far as I'm concerned, me and Joe are best friends.
I
F you. I don't even know why you're still on this podcast. You're at Joe's mic. You need to wrap this up.
First
and
of all,
leave.
it's called Joe and Sherry Renee show. Okay?
Exactly.
Because you got to go. No,
gotta
Joe
go.
is tight. So he is definitely a bestie for sure. So there's that. But that is, I'm glad we've come around to that, because I was definitely like, yeah, that ain't right. But and
I
then
think
hearing
it-
the other dude's perspective too on social media.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I think that typically guys make friends either in school, and
Mhm.
if they trickle off or they move away or whatever, maybe even college, right? But like, what about the transplants and stuff like what
Right.
do they do?
Yeah, that is
Like,
true.
I don't know. I don't know what y'all do.
I don't know. And it's funny because I have a son, obviously. So I
Sports is a big
it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of JR's friendships. And well, he went to a school for a long time. So he was at Mount Olive from K4 to when he just left. So 6th grade. So he was there all that time. So he definitely had like school friends, but he didn't really like talk to them like outside of school. So it's definitely been like his sports community has been like his people that he
I
will
almost say at his birthday party, I recall
call.
seeing people from the game.
It was all basketball kids.
like the basketball moms and the basketball dads was there. Okay.
That's it. And that's who he wanted to invite. And he didn't invite nobody from school. So I'm like, you ain't gonna invite no Brown Deer kids, no Molly. He was like, nah.
F them.
Yeah, he was like, if I only got 10, then these my 10, my basketball people. So yeah, so it's really interesting. So that is true. Like, I think he's making those connections now while he's like a kid, because how you gonna do it? How you gonna do it when you get older?
Right. Exactly. That's true. So, I don't really have any advice for the men other than, I don't know. I heard y'all can make friends on dating websites and stuff too, but that seems fishy. Like, that don't even sound right.
That is funny.
So, I don't know.
Or maybe like through games. I know my coworker's husband is like a big gamer.
But you got to be a gamer for that to
That's
work.
true. So then there's that specific circle of people.
Yeah. And are they really friends? I don't know. Or are they just gaming? I don't know. But I would also say even like mentors, because then what are you doing professionally? Because I know for myself, I attribute a lot of, I think I don't even know how many, but I ended up getting a lot of promotions and things like that, and career success, I guess, under the tutelage of some great mentors.
Oh yeah. No, that's that's tight. Yeah, I agree. I was talking about this at our last staff meeting. We had to like be vulnerable at work.
The staff meeting?
At the staff, yeah, our boss, she makes us go in. Like, we gonna work together. We need to be one band, one sound. So
I'm like, is she Greek?
she
put y'all
not.
online?
Listen, she not, but I be trying to put her in her ear. But that's another story. But anyway, no. So definitely, like, I agree with the mentorship and being open to that and having people who want to see you succeed professionally as well.
Yeah, and just people that can, like you said, hold you accountable, see what you don't see, give you some perspective, things like that. So yeah, and I think the reason why we're stressing the friendship is because who you gonna vent to about me,
girl? Listen,
you can't vent to me about me.
Right? I mean,
I ain't trying to hear that.
I mean, but that's healthy though. You can.
No,
That's
I mean you can, but
like,
you
me.
need some.
But
you need
you
an
do.
outside.
You do.
Yeah.
You need some different perspective, and I think that's where we
and
bring
that
on.
whoever that person is should be telling you about you, not about me.
Absolutely, I definitely
because they don't know me.
Like, it has to be somebody, like a cousin, somebody. Like, you should have at least one person that you could be like, all right, this is what's going on. Or if
not, then try to work on that one person. So the men are gonna have to be vulnerable. That's what they got to do to get a male friend. They got to be vulnerable.
They do.
They got to be like, hey, dog, I'm watching the game this weekend at my crib. You coming or what?
Man, this is
and they're gonna be like, and then the other dude gonna be like, who all coming?
This is a whole episode. Keith, and what comes to mind is like just a dope ass podcast. Like, I really want to know, like, how do men make friends? Tell us.
Share. Well, I mean, okay, through their fraternity. I think so. A lot of the people that I've met naturally have literally been because I'm a part of a bunch of different
Mm-hmm.
organizations,
Yeah,
right? So that's how I've built my bonds and things with people. So I think it makes it a little bit easier.
I
So
agree.
you have to join the MBA association, the Lean Six Sigma
Some.
manufacturing, whatever, like just join, like being part of Nesby, right?
Yeah.
That's how I met. Oh, and then too, when I went to work, I remember one day I wore my Nesby stuff, and we're a manufacturing company. So all the black engineers was like, "What up,
Hey, so
Nesby?"
you had a group within a
Oh,
group.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They was like, "Yeah, you coming to the thing this Friday?" And I was like, "What
Nice.
thing? I'm not active. I ain't trying to be
Said,
active. I was
first of
cold.
all,
I put this on. That's all that this is." But no, they ready to reactivate and do all kind of stuff
listen,
with you. So
a network within a
network
network.
within a network,
They was
right?
ready
They be
too.
ready. And then, obviously, if you wear your sorority stuff, you can be in the airport anywhere. And they be like, "Hey,
Yes.
stop,
Yes, definitely.
right?
All of that.
So, yeah, you got to be active.
Yeah.
Get out, do something. Some
Okay.
virtual
Some
friends
some
for now.
hobbies. Some
Yes, if
hobbies
you
and
have some
different
hobbies, then
activities.
you will naturally find,
There you
yes,
go.
a book club, perhaps, if you're an introvert like myself.
Hey, you know.
And actually, I joined Lydia and Nikita's book club
Oh,
last
did
week.
you last Thursday?
And there was men in there being vulnerable. And I was like, shouts out to the
Okay,
men
cracking
out
book
here trying to
club.
evolve.
Hey, I love it. Listen, that is what's up. Shout out to both of them. Better than new.
Better
Go
than
get that
new.
book.
That's the book.
Um, that's awesome. So yeah,
Okay, we stayed on that one too long. What's the
we
next
did.
one?
Jesus. Oh Lord. What is the next one? Oh no, I gotta get to.
I got one.
Oh, okay.
They support
Oh
your
yeah,
goals and
that's on
your
here.
personal growth,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So because for me, and that's really important to me, because I support the hell out of
Everybody.
whatever. If you're my friend or I'm in a relationship with you or whatever, like I go hard and support whatever you think you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang.
You might just think you're trying to do
And
it, and I'm
I'm
like,
there.
hell yeah,
Yeah. You got this.
right.
What you
Right.
need?
And I'm like, I know this person and this
On the
person, and I connected you with
real.
this because they gonna help you with that. And this is how you do
And
this. So
here's the
Friday,
plan.
right,
Listen,
exactly. Like I'm just ready to go.
you be ready.
So
Yes.
yeah, so I absolutely 100% need that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely agree with that because I think for me that's like the affirmations and the push and the support is a part of my love language. Like I feed off of that. So when I get that support, just like I can do this.
Right.
Dang it.
Exactly.
I got this. Like I'm gonna do this. I'm on my way, making my way downtown. So I definitely think that's important. And it needs to be both ways. Like the support needs to go both ways. I think, you see a lot of memes or I always go back to memes, but they're so
Hey,
funny.
if that's your reading literature, Chanel, that counts for me too. Now, I'm not a big I love memes. I will send them to you all day. I don't know if that actually qualifies as
Hey,
reading,
I don't know.
but I might make a small exception for you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
this one was a picture though. So it was like two people like pouring into each other and they were like blooming. So I was like, that's
a
tight.
beautiful sight.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so important to me is because I've never done anything big by myself, ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that whenever I've had somebody helping me, assisting me, cheering me on, it could be, it doesn't always show up the same way in terms of what they do or how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
But anything that I've ever achieved that I thought that I couldn't,
Mm-hmm.
it has always been through the help, support, encouragement of somebody else. So I absolutely think that you go so much further when you have someone supporting. And not only supporting, I'm going to use the word investing, and actually I'm going to say sowing.
Yeah, sowing.
Because when you sow, you always reap. And
Mhm.
if you sow with me, that means that you agree.
Yeah.
And that's, again, bringing it back to Super Negro Day. They were talking about how today a lot of people are going to be manifesting and do it like, so do it all together, because if we all do it together, then it'll all happen because we all agree, right?
Touch
and
and
that's how every religion works.
Yeah.
Even people that don't believe in religion, that's how spirituality works, right? Is that if we're all on the same accord, we achieve more because we're doing it together. We're saying, and then I'm also sacrificing. So the seed is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So it's gonna harvest. You know what I mean? It just is.
It is.
So that's a big thing for me.
Yeah, that's huge. Yes, definitely touching and agree.
Exactly.
With all
Touch
of that.
and agree.
And agree. That is huge. And
because if not, then honestly, why are you here?
right.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Because if you can't add to me, then why are you here?
Yeah. And if you're just taking and taking and taking, like, nah. I don't need that side eye person. Like I need you to genuinely like push me to next level and support that, and I'm gonna do the same for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that definitely is a huge green flag. And relationships, any relationship really. So not just man,
Absolutely.
woman, but friends and all of that. Workspaces, like let's push each other because when we all manifesting, like you said, we're sowing that seed, so it's gonna harvest.
Absolutely. And also I'll say this, a couple years ago, I was I was working and there were two women that we had three openings in my department,
Hmm.
and there were two women that reached out to me. One of them I did not know,
Mm.
and she was just asking me about the role, just trying to get some advice. She and I just had kindred spirits, so I was like, I'm gonna help you, right?
Hmm.
So I sat down with her. We went through possible interview questions.
Okay.
Kind of just helped her to understand and just kind of, get her thoughts together and just preparation for the interview.
Hmm.
The other woman, I knew her, and I knew that she was going to go for the role.
Okay.
And so I just told her, like, I'm gonna help you.
Right.
Right. So ended up helping them both. Actually, there were three positions open. There were three
Okay.
positions open. There were two of them going for the role. So I was like, all right. So I did my part, whatever, whatever. Just because I didn't need anything out of it. I already have the job, right? I'm just
Hmm.
trying to, I'm here so I can help you get here because I know how to get here because I'm here.
Right.
Right.
And you don't need to reinvent the wheel because I'm
Exactly.
here. The
I'm
door's
already here.
open.
So
So
let
let
me
me help
just
you.
tell you, let's just streamline this process.
Exactly.
Okay.
I
Get it
got
one
you.
and done. Let's just
Listen,
do
I'm
this thing.
pulling you through the door.
Cause we can do it together.
There we go.
Right?
Because
We
it's
can do it
easier.
together. It's easier if we do it together.
Yeah.
So they both ended up getting the job.
Nice.
One got it first, obviously, right? The other one, there was a little bit of a delay. I don't know why, but in any case, she ended up getting the job. Both of them were like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy. Thank you
Hmm.
so much." I mean, one of them, like, we were in the parking lot, she was legit crying. And,
Aw.
I was like, I don't know how I feel about people hugging me that, that I don't know. Because,
That
I'm weird
is
like that.
funny.
Like,
You
unless you
said,
my lover, don't touch me.
I said, I
Back,
don't
back.
know.
And she's like, I know you hate people touching you, but I just have to. And I was like, oh my God, whatever. So in any case, then I'm just going about my time doing my thing, right?
Hmm.
Next thing you know, my boss comes to me with a promotion,
Hmm.
right? And so I believe that that's because I sowed those seeds,
Absolutely.
right? Not, and it didn't come, it didn't necessarily come back to me from them, right? But it still came back to me.
Yep.
And then even now in this season, those two ladies ended up actually being let go. And
Okay.
I've been doing mock interviews with them, just doing whatever I can. This job's hiring, whatever, whatever, whatever.
To help
And
them
then here I go. This
getting
whole
her.
thing happened, for me again.
Yep.
And I just believe in that.
Absolutely. Yep. You reap what you sow.
You reap
So
what you sow.
every
You can't
time.
do it by yourself.
So okay. Listen. And that's not what we're here for.
And I've tried to do a lot of things by myself.
Hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't do it by yourself, but it sure is a lot harder.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I've seen some things where people have tried to do it by themselves and it didn't work. And it wasn't until people sowed a seed or invested in them or said, I'm here with you, that they were able to move the needle.
Yeah. I definitely agree. It's definitely easier when we working together. And like I said, that's why we're here. Like I think that's the point of our existence in humanity is to help each other. So there's that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
What's another
Let's see here. Another one.
one? Another one. DJ Khaled, come on. Another one.
Another one. Yeah, these were good. So from this list here, another one. Oh, a huge one. Honors boundaries.
Child.
That's huge. Honors
That is a big
boundaries.
one. That is a big one.
Mhm. Mhm. That is
And I
huge.
think that's what Joe was trying to do. That's why he read the book and
Mhm.
he said, hey,
Yeah.
this is the thing, man.
Yeah, he was definitely and he read her book and then he did all of that self-work. Like he learned from his divorce and the ending of his first marriage to be like, okay, well, if I'm going to intentionally pursue this woman that I met on a whim going on Plenty of
On
Fish,
Plenty of Fish at all
on
places.
Plenty of Fish, he was like, no, I got to get myself together and I'm going to, respect her and respect the things that she shared. And he said they had really like great in-depth conversations, and that's huge. Like, but I have to do the work so that I don't overstep or, your
Absolutely.
boundaries. I think there's some personal work in that.
Yeah, I think that when you cross boundaries, there's a lot of mistrust,
Hmm.
right? Because, yeah, I'm just going to leave it
Hey,
there.
yeah. And I think that is a huge one. So I think first, like for any person, just defining what those boundaries are. And then, not crossing them yourself. Cause it's one thing to ask somebody else not to cross your boundaries, but then you kind of wishy-washy with your boundaries. So really being firm
Okay,
in
give us
what
an example of that. My brother talks about that all the time.
yeah, and I said it because that's something that I used to do, but on Negroes Day,
We ain't gonna talk about it.
we ain't
We ain't
talking
gonna
about
do it.
that. I'm
Okay. All
above
right.
that.
That's cool. I'm gonna tell you what my brother said then. How about that? This ain't gonna be Chanel's words. These are Sherry Renee's big brother's words. And
Oh
he always said
man.
how women say what they ain't gonna do
Hmm.
and then they do it.
They do it,
And
yeah.
he said, and that's when I know
That I could do what I want to
that
do.
I'm at exactly.
Exactly. It's just as simple as that. I mean, heck, that's even with my dog. Like he understands that. Like if you tell him do one thing, but then like for instance, JR lets him jump on the couch, and I'm like, no, we don't do that because we black. Like you don't sit on the furniture because we black in this house. But then, like today, I was like, "Oh, because he was so sassy." So but no excuse. I was like, "Oh, come here, like get on the couch with me." So he probably like, "You said no, but you let me do it anyway."
Child,
So
when y'all gone, he
now,
be all up in that
listen,
couch, okay?
no, he be locked up because we know better. I ain't that crazy, but no,
Locked up.
and even an animal is gonna recognize that, like you not even doing what you said to do.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna keep doing whatever I want to do.
And that brings me to respect.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you, again, I think they go hand in hand. If you don't respect your own
Mm-hmm.
boundaries, if you
Yeah,
got the nerve to tell somebody else your own boundary, but then you're up here participating in the thing that you said you wouldn't do,
exactly.
you don't respect yourself. And if you don't respect yourself, how can somebody respect you?
Exactly. It's as simple as that.
It's as
Like
simple as that.
you gotta say what you mean and mean what you say.
Or like, my brother always says, girls say they don't do something and then they find themselves doing it. Hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's a thing.
And it makes it easy for me to be like, all right, well, we just gonna keep
I mean,
doing
that's
this
the
thing.
past for niggas to start nigging. I don't
Hey,
know.
it is. It really is. But we all live and we learn because on this here Negro Solstice
On
Day,
super Negro Day.
Super Negro Day, we are not doing that. We're gonna be our higher
Our
selves.
higher selves, and we're going to set
Absolutely.
boundaries. We're going to respect ourselves, honor said boundaries, and
Hmm.
hold people accountable to them.
There we go. All of that.
All of that.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
So, okay. I'm like, which way do I want to go? But sense of humor,
Mm.
because I'm stupid. So I need people that are going to laugh.
Yeah, so do I. That's definitely huge on my list of things that you gotta have some sense of humor. Um, because
It can be a dry
I
sense.
play
I
all
can do
day.
the dry sense.
Yeah.
It can't be like annoying though. Like that's just irritating. I don't know.
Yeah, that's huge. Like we gotta laugh. Like we watching the comedy. I need that laugh until I cry. Like that's how I know you a real one.
Yeah,
Like
me
we
too.
gotta have that moment.
Yeah, every now and again.
Every
Every
now
now and
and
again,
again.
I want to look at you and be like, "You dumb as hell."
Listen, yes, like
Just every
that.
now and again.
That's like top up there. Like we gotta have a moment. I still think about stuff that I laughed with people like years ago. Like, man, that was funny.
Funny.
And just thinking about it make you
Right.
laugh. Like,
Oh my
what
God.
the
I had a
heck?
few things come to mind. I don't want to get sidetracked again,
Man,
but yes,
just
I
dumb
agree.
stuff too, where
Just
to somebody else would be like, that's not even funny.
right. But it's an
But
inside thing.
yeah.
You got it. I got it. We
Yeah.
got it. So
We
it's
got it.
okay.
That's all that
Don't nobody else
matters.
need to understand.
Listen, as long as we got it. So yeah, sense of humor is huge. Just to be able to laugh at yourself. Because, we ain't got it all together. So I laugh and can joke with myself and see the humor in a lot of things. But for me too, laughing is also a defense mechanism for me.
Absolutely.
So I will laugh at some very inappropriate times, and I'm working on that. So I
I
could be at
read
a funeral
something.
laughing.
I read something that said, like be cautious of people who are like comedians because it's deep rooted in some type of pain, and it is a defense
It
mechanism.
is.
But I mean, I don't know. I
I
thought it
believe
was,
that.
but maybe it's a healthy defense. I don't know.
I
Whatever.
don't know.
But I
Because some
sense
comedians
of
seem
humor.
like they had a hard life. So I
Yeah.
definitely can see
Yeah,
where that would come
absolutely.
from.
Absolutely. They was homeless, all kind
Yeah,
of
all
stuff.
kind of stuff.
All
It's just
kind of stuff.
like, whoa, Steve, you gotta laugh at some point because you would be
You'll
sad.
die.
Yeah, you would
That's what
really
happened.
die. So yeah. So I'm always looking for that laugh. Like if you've laughed until we cried together, like you have a special place in my heart.
Me too. A special place. A special
Because
place
it's
that cannot
funny.
be blotted out.
Ever. You're a special person. Like even with my son, like I'm so blessed that he's funny. Like he cracks me up. And I just be
Yeah.
like, bro, you're really funny. This is great. Cause I was gonna have to rib him if he wasn't. But he is really
Oh my
funny. So
God.
that's good.
A good listener.
Yeah. I think that's very important. And this goes back to communication, but listening to understand and
Yeah.
not to just be right or win.
Yeah. Genuinely concerned. Like people that literally take the time to ask you how you doing,
Mm-hmm.
follow up.
Yep.
They mean it.
Yeah.
They not checking the box.
Yep. All of that.
Like if I talk to you or I'm texting you or I'm calling you or you're calling me or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that cannot be one sided.
Yeah. No. It definitely. Well, that's interesting because it should like be part of the standard conversation. Like, hey, how you doing?
Absolutely. I'm good. How are
Absolutely.
you?
Like
Absolutely. It
this is
should
how
be.
this goes.
But
But
here's the thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
Some
people
people.
just call and talk to you about them.
Yeah.
Or you might be like, hey, how you doing? How's this going? I saw you were doing this, just checking in. How's that going? And
Mm-hmm.
they'll tell you about them and then they out.
Yeah. It's like,
Never mind what's going on in your life.
right. I'm here.
Right.
Like, bro.
No concern or regard for what's going on in your life.
A mess.
Just let me tell you about me and then I'm out.
Yeah. That's definitely. And I love that. Like I think that is really tight because then it shows like genuine concern. It shows that you care. It shows that you listen, like you want to listen and hear, what I'm going through.
Right. And you recall from the last conversation or whatever. So hey, how's that thing going with you?
That is good. But it does make it hard when some people don't open up. So they'll be like so they'll be like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm good. How you doing? And then it's just like, that's it. And I'd be like, nah, like, I need some details. Like, I would definitely backtrack. Like I said, what's going on?
My
like,
God.
I need to know.
That is so
Yeah.
funny.
And maybe that's because they're not used to getting that, like, genuine. Like, I really want to know, how are you doing? So that probably is the reason why. I feel like
for the most part, if people give me like, oh, I'm good or I'm all right or whatever, then I'll ask them specifically about something like, oh, how's that thing going? Or have you heard back from this? Or what's the next step in that? You know, to kind of just open up the gates just a little, just a
little bit.
But then they be like, yep, so this is how this going. All right, I'm out.
Right. That's it. Yep, it was good. Like, what? That's it?
Hilarious.
So yeah, you kind of gotta pull it out of people. But again, if they haven't had that green flag of this is healthy communication, like,
or maybe they just don't want to open up,
or they just don't want to open up. That's
so I think some people are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the default, and sometimes it's a trust thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't know if people are being genuine.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's the standard answer. How are you doing? I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
like, is anybody gonna be like, so I was really depressed last night?
That's that vulnerability piece. Like, can I trust you enough to say that, and you're not gonna judge me or like throw it in my face next week because I told you I was depressed?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I will say this though. I was talking to somebody and it was like they totally did this on accident, but it was like, oh, how you doing? And I was like legit being transparent, vulnerable, all of the above. And they were like, so I hate to do this to you, but I'm gonna have to call you back. They were like, I'm supposed to be in a meeting. I didn't know. I just got the reminder. Now I'm late. Gotta go. But I care. Call you back. Give me 60 minutes.
Listen, I love you, but
gotta go. Exactly.
Gotta go because you just spilled your whole life.
You spilled your whole life, and my response is gotta go.
Jesus, and I wasn't even ready for none of this. Woo! That's hey.
Fun.
These dang on Zoom meetings in the
I
world we live
know.
in today. Every 5 minutes, somebody want to Zoom. I'm
Right.
zoomed out.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Hilarious though.
But that is really funny. You said put a pin in it, and I'm gonna call you back. Like I'm
They were
here.
like, "Oh, so you want to
Right,
die? Okay,
right.
you're suicidal right now. Let me call you back."
I'm sitting here crying. Tomorrow I'm gonna call you back. What?
Right, exactly.
Listen,
Your
just
mom died.
right.
Wait, let me just call you right back, and then we can talk about
No,
that.
just
Like,
put me
oh,
on mute.
okay.
Why you mean? I need to
You
still
ain't in
be
this
there.
meeting for real
Right. Right.
anyway.
It's a Zoom, bro.
Shoot,
Like, just put me on mute.
don't go on camera.
Right. Like, who does that anyway? So there's that. But yeah, nope. That is definitely a good one. Genuinely. I think that's the key word. Like to
Right, or
genuinely
just following up on whatever they do know.
have concerns. Yeah. Yeah. Or that part. So and opening up. But I think all of these are like all interconnected because it goes back to some other pieces like communication or vulnerability or trust or, you know.
Yeah, for me, I think for me personally, I think empathy is the overarching thing
hmm
because I think that lends to them accepting you for who you are.
hmm
It lends to them being a good listener, respecting you, being accountable, being vulnerable because they're empathetic. So they're encouraging your vulnerability. Um, I don't know, honoring your
hmm
boundaries, investing in you. I care about you because I'm legit empathetic. Checking in on how you're doing with whatever's going on in your life, supporting your goals, all that. To me, it's empathy is my overarching theme.
mm.
What about you?
Um, I think mine's would be communication, like
Okay.
effective communicating. I think that pulls everything in because once you can effectively communicate, you can allow yourself to be vulnerable. You can, continue to show your empathy. You can express those boundaries and to know that you can't cross this boundary. So I think all of it goes hand in hand with being effectively able to communicate.
All right. So what goes in the to go box?
Oh, we was getting down. We was big talking today. What goes in my to go
Well, but
box?
right now we ain't got no job.
We sure don't. It's
So,
Friday. No, I'm just
it's
kidding.
Friday. Well, it feel like
It
Friday.
does. It's Monday. We ain't got no job. We ain't got nothing to do.
I don't want to say that. Wait a minute. We are
Oh yeah.
gainfully
There
employed
we go.
on this
Because it's
December
Negroes
22nd.
Day.
It's Super
Yes.
Negro
We
Day.
can't
We
manifest
are
that.
off of work, is what we
Listen.
are, but we are still getting checks.
Still getting checks and gainfully
Right. I don't want to sow
and
those
dutifully
seeds. Right.
employed.
Dutiful.
So yes, definitely not putting that in the atmosphere because I want my job. I love it.
Right. I don't know if I love it because it's new, but hopefully I do.
Oh, you're
I
gonna
don't
love
know.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You're right.
there we
I'm
go.
gonna love it.
See,
I'm gonna love it. I love
speaking
it
positive.
already.
We love our job. We love what we do. Listen, okay.
Yep.
But what goes into the to go box? This was very healthy and much needed. I think, like you said at the beginning, we know so well what red flags are, and green flags are kind of foreign. They're new to us. But I think once we start to recognize it within ourselves, then we know more of what we want to allow in a relationship. I think is what I'm taking away.
For me, I think it is just a paradigm shift, right? So looking at the same situation differently, just from a positive perspective instead of a negative one. So just looking for qualities or identifying qualities that will serve you,
Mm,
right? That will help cultivate you, that will help you be the best person that you can be. So
hmm
just identifying those, looking for those. And like I said, I think my biggest one is empathy.
hmm
So yeah, I'm rolling out with that. So thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties podcast. Until next time,
Peace.
peace.